Hi there, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Transform Our World CPD event. My name's Hannah Battram. I work for Global Action Plan, and my role is to work for, I manage the Clean Air for Children part of our work at Global Action Plan. So really excited to be joined by you all today to tell you a little bit more about Clean Air Day, which is coming up next week. And also give some ideas and suggestions about different ways that your school and your school community can kind of come together and use Clean Air Day either as a kind of launch moment to start your clean air journey, or to use it as a kind of point to celebrate and continue work that you may have already started. So just a couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. There's the chat function that you'll see. If you have questions and things, please do pop them in the chat. And we would just ask if you could keep your microphones on silent at different points. There will be obviously opportunities to raise your hand or chip in as and when, and we'll let you know when those moments are. Also, just to let you know that the session is being recorded, but the session later on when we're in the breakout rooms, that won't be recorded. So just wanted to make you aware of that before we get started. So without further ado, just to give you a bit of an overview of what we're looking to cover today. So just a bit of an overview of what Clean Air Day is and the theme this year. The particular relevance of clean air for children, and different ways really that you can start or continue your clean air journey. So I was going to share with you some examples of things that schools have done in the past, and also highlight some free resources that are available for schools to use, and ways that students can raise their voices with decision makers. And then we will go into some kind of breakout groups where you'll get an opportunity to talk to other colleagues from other schools and kind of share ideas about what you might like to do, or ask questions and kind of come back and for a feedback and Q&A session at the end. So starting off about Clean Air Day. So this year Clean Air Day is next week on Thursday. It's the UK's biggest air pollution campaign, and the main thing about it is that it's a moment in the year where it really helps to kind of drive positive shift in knowledge and action, and it's a great opportunity for schools and businesses and other organisations to find out more and to take action to make sure we have cleaner air which is healthier for everyone. So why do we focus on clean air? One of the reasons is that it's the largest environmental health risk that we face today, and over 92% of the world's population are in places where air pollution exceeds safe limits. So the purpose of around Clean Air Day really is to help improve that public understanding, get backing for kind of air pollution measures, and really sort of help mobilise action basically. And this year's theme is the one that's up on the screen in front of you. It's that air pollution dirties every organ in your body, and to take steps to improve your health this Clean Air Day. The reason that we focused on that this year is because a lot of people kind of associate clean air and air related issues with just respiratory problems with your lungs, which is absolutely true. But the thing that some people don't realize, that it gets into your body through your lungs, but also then gets into your blood, and then can have, has been shown to be able to harm every single organ in your body. So to kind of summarize, it can shorten lives, lead towards kind of chronic illnesses, affect various organs including lungs, hearts, brains, etc., cause chronic illnesses ranging from lung conditions through to dementia and strokes, and also worsen sort of the effects of things like COVID-19. In relation to children, that's particularly important because children are one of the more vulnerable groups in the sense from the point of view of air pollution. So they're particularly vulnerable because their organs and immune systems are still growing and developing. Because of their size, they're often relatively close, or much closer, sorry, to sources of pollution. So things like car exhaust, if you imagine, small child walking down the road. They're at the sort of right height, or wrong height, we should say, really, to breathe in those toxic fumes. With children in particular, it not only affects their health, but their ability to learn. So there's been quite a lot of research around the fact that exposure to high levels of air pollution can actually affect children's working memory, so it affects their ability to concentrate. And there's been some studies that show that where air pollution is particularly high around schools, that it can actually lead to the equivalent of sort of 4 weeks per year missed of school. So it'd be the equivalent of a child being off school for 4 weeks in essence, which is almost sort of half a term of every single year. And obviously that time absolutely adds up. At the moment, almost all of the schools in the UK, apart from a few in the kind of Shetland Islands up in Scotland, are unfortunately located in areas that are deemed where air quality levels are deemed unsafe by the World Health Organization, which means that young people are exposed to those high levels of pollution in their daily lives. All of that sounds quite bleak, and it is quite bleak, and unfortunately, in December 2020, you may have heard of the case of Elekisi Deborah, who very sadly lost her life, and that was directly attributed to air pollution. She was 9 years old at the time. She actually died much before 2020, but the coroner only there was a landmark case essentially which her mother campaigned for quite a few years, and that then did lead to a conclusion with a range of health experts who looked at the evidence and concluded that that was the case. And as I said, that does all sound relatively bleak, but the good news is that there is a lot of action and a lot of things that you can do, whether that's really just starting your clean air journey, or taking kind of bigger action. And Clean Air Day is just a really great moment to either start or continue that journey. So this year we're asking for schools to talk to students about the harms of air pollution and specifically how it impacts their health. And we've got resources to help you do this, which I'll come on to in just a moment. To encourage staff and children to walk to school, or part of their journey if they're able to, perhaps from a nearby location on Clean Air Day. And also asking students to write and speak to local and national decision makers to kind of raise their voices and ask for change at a bigger scale in essence. So just to give you a few ideas about some of the things that schools have celebrated and done in the past, because I think it's always useful to sort of know and get a bit of inspiration to then think about what your school could do or what's most appropriate within your school community. So just wanted to share a few of the things up here. So this top picture on the top right, this was a group of students in Manchester, and they started a campaign called What's the Solution to the Pollution? Their campaign was focused on idling, on anti-idling. So they had a big problem with idling outside their school. So they did some idling monitoring. They found out what was going on and got some kind of concrete data of exactly what was going on outside of their school. And then they kind of did I guess campaigns sort of standing outside with their teachers' supervision. They did things like putting fake parking tickets on people's cars who were idling. They worked with their adult, parent helpers and various other people to kind of politely speak to drivers, and raised awareness through the whole school community by making things like videos and things like that they shared in the newsletter, and with their local school community. On the bottom left here, this was an eco council who kind of took the lead at a school in Lambeth. And this lady on the right hand side here is the local councillor who then visited their school on Clean Air Day last year. And the Eco Council presented to her and said essentially that this is the work that we've done to date. and we'd really like your support to help implement some of the changes that they were looking to have. So they did an active travel campaign, and they were focusing around getting students kind of cycling and walking and scooting to school, and they asked for the counsellor to help them make the streets a little bit safer outside their school, and also for support and guidance in terms of how to get access to improving their cycle and cycling and scooter parking facilities. Last year, as we know, the pandemic was pretty rife, and a lot of schools weren't able to have visitors in. So there were some online sessions that some schools attended. This one was focused on raising children's voices with the United Nations Committee of the Rights of the Child as part of a campaign called Freedom to Breathe. And they were essentially calling on the UN to make sure that clean air was a right for children, which currently it's not clearly stipulated within the Convention on the Rights of the Child. And that campaign gathered the support of 29,000 children from all around the world, from China and India, UK, USA and Cameroon. And there's actually a consultation going on at the moment with the UN that young people can get involved in, which I'll come on to as well. And this campaign at the bottom here, this was just an awareness raising campaign where students used Clean Air Day as a moment to really raise awareness about the different actions that their school community could take. So those are just a few examples. A few more on here. There was some children who engaged with Sadiq Khan and Shirley Rodriguez, who's the Deputy Mayor of London last year, and shared their visions for a clean air future and shared the sorts of clean air future that they wanted to see. There were some young people who protested around clean air. This was outside some, this was actually more sort of community centres, but it's also the sort of thing that a school could do, where you can see it says, please switch off your engine and celebrating Clean Air Day, but those kind of posters and signs, etc., can obviously be shared. Just wanted to highlight, had students making posters to raise awareness around the school. They were making kind of campaign plans and that sort of thing, and highlighting their various issues that they wanted to focus on that were most relevant to their school, with their school community in essence. One of the things that I just wanted to flag was that a lot of the campaigns were really student-led. And it's a really great opportunity to kind of link in with a lot of the curriculum work and raise that sort of student voice. So there's lots of case studies that are on the Transform Our World website, which detail some of the things and some of the actions that those students have taken, whether it's promoting active travel or tackling idling. And like here, for example, there was a campaign led by some students at a school in Lambeth that they called it "Idling is bad, definitely not rad." And I was just going to show you a very short video of one of the campaigns that some of the students led, just to give you a kind of flavour of some of the things that they were doing.
To talk to you about Clean Air Day. This is happening this Thursday, 17th of June. It involves learning more about air pollution. Clean Air Day is important as we need to know how pollution affects us, what we can do to stop it, and how we can help our environment and our health.
Our research leads to 1 in 5 people in St. Mark's get a car to school, and the rest of us either walk, cycle, or take public transport to school, which is really good.
But it also means that some drivers may idle. At St. Mark's, we want to encourage you to stop idling.
Idling is when you're in a car and your engine is on. Even when you're not moving around, you're either waiting for someone or stuck in traffic.
We want all drivers to stop idling. This is because if you leave the engine running, it releases dirty air that we might breathe in.
Did you know that idling is against the law? You can be fined £20 for refusing to turn off your engine. Idling is most common in the afternoon when parents pick up their children. High levels of pollution have been recorded at this time.
As children, our lungs are still developing
When we breathe in air pollution, it can lead to asthma and other health problems.
You might know someone who drives a car and idles. You should ask them politely to turn it off.
Explain why this is important and why idling is bad.
If you usually take a car to school, try choosing a different method. Here is our acronym to help you to remember to stop idling.
Idling is bad, definitely not rad.
Let's turn off the engine, improving the air that we breathe in.
Now tell everyone you know, give Clean Air Day a go.
Join us in Clean Air Day and help us make our air cleaner.
Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of a flavour of some of the things that students have done in the past. It's always kind of quite hard to bring to life exactly what they've done without obviously seeing, you know, the various different campaigns. But that's just one example of the many that schools have done over the years. And you can see from that sort of short clip, you know, how much different learning, how many different skills, etc. the students are picking up by being really actively involved. There's some citizen science elements there where they actually went out and kind of measured and monitored the number of cars that were idling. They were using numeracy skills, communication skills, and so on. So really great opportunity to raise awareness, but also, you know, make sure that it's curriculum linked and that it is enhancing essentially their students' learning. So in terms of the resources that are available to schools, I just wanted to run through a few different things that are very readily available to schools, and they're all free of charge, so you can download them directly from the website. So on the Clean Air Day website, which is just this link up here, cleanairday.org.uk. There's a section here which, if you just googled Clean Air Day 2022, you should come to this link. There's a section here which says schools at the top, and when you click on the on that section or on the resources section, it comes to schools resources, and then you'll come onto a page which has got all the resources specifically for schools. There's a social media pack which you can download if it's something that you wanted to promote, if that's something that your school does actively, and wanted to promote some of the work that the children and the teachers and staff, parents, etc. are doing. And then don't worry, you can't see everything on here, but just to give you a snapshot of the types of things that are available to download. So you've got things like assembly packs, resources for different key stages, key stage 1, key stage 2, key stage 3, things like a no idling kit, pledge cards, campaign action plans, word searches, videos, low pollution maps, you know, how to organize a walking bus, how to trial a school street, etc. So there's the point that I'm making here is not so much, you know, to highlight every single resource, but there's a real range on there, and it's something that you can have a look at and make, you know, choose the option that's most appropriate for you. So this year, if you're just starting your clean air journey and, you know, it's something that you want to use Clean Air Day to just kind of kickstart that whole process, something like an assembly pack might be a really great starting point. But if you're building on that moving forward, you might want to use some of these other resources kind of moving forward, whether that's letters to school leaders or, you know, starting a campaign or making a video or organizing a walking bus for your school community. So there's a real range on there, and it's just about choosing what's right for your school. We don't expect every school to use every single resource that's on there. So but the point is that they're all there, and they're all free of charge and available to download for any school to use. The other thing that we have on our website is this website here, Action for Cleaner Air. And that basically has all of our tools and resources that are all in one place. It's just kind of one-stop shop for all things clean air. So whilst, you know, Clean Air Day is obviously its own kind of campaign and its own event, so to speak, We do have other resources that are available for schools, so things like an air pollution calculator, or help and support for making the case for clean air if you wanted to speak to decision makers. Things like an intervention toolkit, which is more for making kind of operational changes and speaking to, you know, governors and people like the business and operations teams, or perhaps even the head teacher. And then you've got the more kind of education focused resources as well. Couple of ones that I just wanted to highlight specifically for Clean Air Day. So these clean air campaigning resources, which are under the schools resources, these have specific kind of citizen science type of activities, that some of which I just mentioned. So things like the anti-idling campaign, where students can actively monitor what's going on in and around their school and really sort of take action to make the changes that are most relevant within your school community. There's also the Clean Air for Schools framework, which is basically an online self-audit tool. So it's a really quick kind of 15-minute tool where you put in information about your school, so things like, you know, whether you're located near to busy roads and how many students are enrolled and that kind of thing. And it gives you a bespoke clean air action plan, and it gives you a range of different options of things that you can choose. So it's things about how to reduce air pollution in and around the school gates and on the school run and through your operations, but also through kind of educational initiatives. And then you can design your own clean air action plan based on the sort of recommended suggestions. If you think that that's something, you know, that you've perhaps already done, or that isn't right for you at that moment in time, then you can kind of select a different option basically. Also, just to highlight for any schools that are located in London, there's the London Schools Pollution Help Desk, which is a free to use service that helps you kind of tackle air pollution in and around your school. So you can contact them directly and get some more kind of bespoke and kind of one-to-one support where somebody can talk you through that Clean Air for Schools framework that I just mentioned, or give recommendations or suggestions specific to your school. It might be that you're looking for you know, to put something in like a cycle scooter parking, or air cleaning devices, but you're not kind of quite sure where to look or where to get funding for that. So they can the Schools Pollution Help Desk can help signpost you to some of those resources that are specifically available to you, and also let you know if there's any particular support that's available through your local authority that you may or may not be aware of. So those are some of the free resources on our website which you can access. The other thing that I just wanted to note, which is kind of quite timely at the moment, which is great opportunities for students to raise their voices if it's something that's of interest to you. The first one is this General Comment 26. And the deadline for that is the 30th of June. And in essence, what that is, it's the UN Committee on the Rights of the Child are putting out a global consultation, which is called General Comment 26, and it's got a special focus on climate change. And basically what it's doing is inviting young people from all over the world, so you can be, you know, anywhere, any child who's 17 and under is able to answer this questionnaire. And it's asking young people to share their experiences about, you know, what their thoughts are about the environmental and climate crisis. And of course, clean air is a part of that kind of conversation. So it might be something that they want to raise as part of that, but there's also obviously opportunities for them to raise other issues that they might be concerned about, be that, you know, wildfires or droughts or floods, or other issues that might affect them, pollution, you know, plastic pollution, water pollution, other types of pollution. And we've created a kind of guidance document here, which explains like what the General Comment 26 is and how young people can get involved and raise their ideas specifically about air quality. But obviously, if there are other environmental and climate change related issues that they want to raise, they can of course do that as well. There's also the Environmental Act 2021, and there's consultation on environmental targets. This one is is slightly kind of less specifically geared towards children, but if you feel that the the children that you're working with it's something that they'd be interested to do, it's a really great opportunity to also raise their voices and feedback to a public consultation. This is a UK based one run by DEFRA, and the deadline for that is the 27th of June. So some kind of timely things that are going on at the moment that young people have the opportunity to feedback to if they so wish to. And I just wanted to show screen share this with you, which is just a kind of comic which just gives a real summary of exactly what General Comment 26 is, and it's quite a nice way to explain it to young people. So I've just in case anyone can't see the words, I'll very quickly just read through what it says on here. So it says the environmental crisis is a child rights crisis. Children and young people are being forced to leave their homes, missing out on school and losing their lives. Children and young people are speaking up, demanding action from governments, from marches and protesters taking action online, tree planting, using art and more. The United Nations is listening to the calls of children and young people. They're building guidelines for countries to protect children's rights affected by environmental harm. The significant guidance is also known as General Comment number 26. It will hold governments accountable when they violate children's rights and strengthen environmental action. Children and young people worldwide are invited to help shape General Comment 26 through workshops on different topics like climate change, environmental education and more, online questionnaires and discussions with people in their region. Children and young people's views are important to creating General Comment number 26. They have a right to say in decisions about matters affecting them. They offer unique insights into how environmental harm and climate change impacts children, and they have lots of creative ideas and solutions. Get involved and be a champion for children's environmental rights. So that gives you, as I say, a bit of an overview of what that is and how young people can get involved. And so it's quite a nice kind of graphic to share with young people to explain what that process is. So what I would like to do in the next kind of part of this session, perhaps for about 15 minutes, is to go into some kind of breakout rooms and have some discussions with kind of colleagues and peers, and just to give you some, I mean, you don't have to stick to these questions, but these are just some sort of suggested questions about the types of things that you might like to think about. Is whether people have got anything planned for Clean Air Day. If you haven't got any plans yet, you know, what would you like to do on the day, or perhaps you know, share some ideas with others in your group. Whether that could link to any other initiatives at your school or organisation. So there might be things going on, you know, other environmental programs that you're running, or things about student leadership, for example, or working with, you know, if you're part of an academy chain, it might be that there's you know, several schools that you might want to kind of link up on and do something jointly, if that's something that's appropriate for your organisation. And there might also be other groups or organisations that it would be beneficial to collaborate with, either on the day or afterwards. So whether that's your local authority, or perhaps local businesses, or you know, other kind of environmental groups, councillors, etc., that might be able to help and support your school to make the changes that you would like to see and that the students would like to see. So those are just a few kind of ideas to get you started. Obviously, if there are other ideas, then absolutely, please do feel free to spend the time to discuss and think through the things that are most going to be most helpful. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining today. Thank you for your contributions and sharing back. We really hope that you have a wonderful day next week on Clean Air Day and join in those celebrations. And yeah, if you are doing anything on Clean Air Day, please do, and you're sharing it online, please do kind of tag us at Clean Air Day, or use the hashtag Clean Air Day, so that we can really make some noise around the country about all the wonderful things that are going on in your schools and other schools across the UK. So thanks once again for joining, and have an enjoyable rest of your evening, and I hope you have a really great day next week, and that you found this session useful.